Sorry. Hello. Today we're going to be doing a brief introduction tutorial to learning the programming language Visual Basic. So you want to download Microsoft Visual Studio from the Microsoft website. If you get Express Edition, it is free, and it's a great version to start off with because as a beginner you're not going to need any of the professionals features. So we're going to create a new project. Now there are two main types of desktop application, console and form. A form application is what you're used to, it's got labels and buttons, etc. A console application is like this, you just type to use it, but it uses a lot less resources, a lot less memory, so it's much better for background purposes generally. We're going to learn with the console application to start with because it will allow us to focus on the language without having to worry about the interface. So, create it and call it what you like. I would recommend a sensible name, but it's down to you. And then we get this, and it will. How it works is it runs through the main sub, which is this, and it runs line by line. So we're going to start off with something rather important that you need to know, which is variables. But before we get into that, I just want to apologise. My screen recorder is got a bit of a problem at the moment, and there may be some black flickering in the video. You've probably already seen some. I am trying to sort this out, but it is proving quite a task, and I don't want to change recorder because it's quite good software. Anyway, on with the tutorial. So we're going to do 4 types of variable. A variable is how the program stores data during its runtime. It will have a name, which is its identifier, and a data type. So you declare it as dim, you give it the name or identifier, num1, and then integer, which is a whole number. When declaring these, the only characters you're allowed are letters and numbers, and the first character has to be a letter. Okay, so we're going to set that num1 is equal to 42. Okay, we're going to say dim num2 as double, and a double is a number but it can have a decimal place, so we're going to set that to 3.14. Blank lines, the program won't pay any attention to them, so you can put as many as you in as you like to make it easy to read. We're going to go dim txt1 as string. String is just a text, i.e. letters and numbers strung together, characters strung together. txt1 is equal to hello world. When putting text in, you do have to put it in speech marks, so that the program knows it is text and not a command of some sort. And then the last one I'm going to do is a boolean. Yes, no as boolean. And a boolean is either true or false, and they're most used for things like checking to see if a file exists or if there's an error, in which case it will return a boolean, either true or false. So we're going to set that to true. Okay. So what can you do with them, with variables? Right, well, we'll start with a concatenation of strings. That basically just means putting them together for anyone who doesn't know. So we're going to go dim txt1 as string, dim txt2 as string, dim txt3 as string. And we're going to go txt1 equals hello, txt2 equals space, txt3 is equal to txt1 and, using the ampersand, txt2 and world. And that will basically mean that txt3 is quite literally txt1 and txt2 and world, so in this case hello world. We're going to use something called a message box. You probably have seen these in the form of an error normally. but they're literally a message box coming on the string. It's the function msgbox. So we're going to put msgbox and then in brackets txt3, and that's going to do this. See, so that's what txt3 equals, and it's displayed in our message box. Okay. Right, number types. We're going to have dim num1 as integer, dim num2 as double, and dim num3 as double. So we're going to say num1 is equal to 5, num2 is equal to 4.5, and we can say num3 is equal to num1 and num2. You can also do minus, times, and divide. We're just going to go msgbox num3, and that will show you 9.5, hopefully. There you go, 9.5. You don't have to do it in the form of variables, you can do it directly, so you can go 4.5, and again 9.5. Okay, now we're going to do some useful functions. Controls. In a console application, the only real control you're likely to be using at this stage is the console. So we're going to have, you can go to the control name, which in this case is console, and dot. It will show you all the properties and all the things you can do with it in this drop-down list. We're going to use two at the moment, console.writeLine and console.readLine. Console.writeLine writes a line to the console from what you put in there. Console.readLine reads a line to the console, and if you put a variable equals, say a variable then equals, then that the variable will equal it, just like as you set a normal variable. So we're going to go console.writeLine, enter your name, then we're going to go. We're going to put dim name up here because it's good practice to put them at the top. Name as string, and we're going to say name equals console.readLine, and then we're going to go console.writeLine, which marks your name is ampersand and name. There you go. We're again going to put a message box in it because without something that the user has to input, the program's not going to wait for the user. So if we don't put a message box here, because this is going to wait for the user because the user has to press OK, it's going to run through all this. When you will obviously have to wait till you type something in for the read, but after that it will run through it before you can even read your name is, because it's not waiting for the user, so just run it as quickly as the computer can, which is microseconds. So I put a message box in there so it stops. So my name is Alex, tells me my name is Alex, and there's our message box stopping it zooming off. Okay. Right. We're going to use decisions now, and in this case we're going to use it in the form of an if statement. So we're going to have dim yes no as boolean, so that we've got something to have this to test. We're going to say yes no is equal to true. Okay. You need if statements because you need to be able to test things, and your program needs to react on whether or not a condition is met. So we're going to go if yes no is equal to true, then, and then an end if. And basically it will check to see what yes no equals. If it does equal true, which in this case it will run what's here. So we're just going to put message box true. There you go, so it will run that MSG box. And there you go, true. We can also put in a thing called else. This means if it will check to see if it's true. If it isn't, it will run this. So if we can go message box bracket, and then we'll put a message box of false. We'll set this to false. and as you can see, it's false. Okay, when declaring variables inside if statements, be careful, because if I said dim txt as string here, and then tried to set it here, you'd see it says it's not declared. It's not declared because you've declared it inside an if statement, and if you declare inside an if statement, it's only going to work within that if statement. You'll find similar things with subs and functions, which we're going to do now. Okay, so a sub. We're going to say sub add. Okay, and we're going to just go console dot write line 5 plus 4.5, and then we're going to go here. We're going to put add with brackets after it, and this means it will reach this add. This add means run this, and then after it's run this, it will return here. So we'll just put message box here, just to stop it from closing the program. And as you can see, it's written it to there, to the console, and we've got the message box because it's gone, it's run this, and it's come back where it was. You can also have something called a function. The difference between a sub and a function is that a function returns a value and a sub does not. So we're going to go adder, and instead of console.writeLine, we're just going to return it. So we're going to return 5 plus 4.5, and then we're going to go here, and we're just going to put inside the message box adder in brackets, because that works the same as a sub, except it returns a value. So this adder will run that, but then the adder here will effectively equal what the function's returned, so that will equal 9.5, and the message box will show 9.5. There you go. Okay. Again, be careful with variables. If you declare a variable here as integer, you won't be able to use it here. Sorry, it's auto-correcting. There you go. It won't be able to use it here. If you want to use it in more than one sub, you've got to declare it above all the subs. So you'll have to put it up here, and that makes it global to all the subs in this module. So you can then go a equals 5. There you go. And that'll run. And that concludes our tutorial for today. I hope it's given you a reasonable understanding for a beginner of this language, and you should be able to use this to write some simple programs. I will be making more tutorials to do some more complicated things, including a form application. Anyway, thank you for watching.